Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the i5-8400 versus the i7-7700K and why I decided to go with the i5-8400. My name is Scott, and I will see you after the intro. So, as most of you know who've been watching my videos, if you don't, hit that subscribe button, smash that dislike button, then unsubscribe and then comment, Scott, you're an idiot. For those of you who've been watching, you know that I just recently sold my MacBook Pro. Sorry, just a quick little moment of silence for the MacBook Pro, rest in peace. And I am building a Hackintosh, a desktop Hackintosh. I wanted more power, I didn't really need portability anymore, so I decided, let's build a big old computer. If you see right here, that's the case so far, right there. And it's still a work in progress, obviously. I'm gonna do a big old video when it's all done. I'm excited. So, in today's video, I just want to talk about why I made the decision I made, because I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but some people might be in this situation, and maybe they're looking for some information, or you're just genuinely interested, i7 or i5, 7th gen or 8th gen. So, there are a couple reasons why I decided to go with the i5-8400. The first one is price. If you look online, the 7700K still goes for like $300 plus from large retailers. Used on eBay, it goes for roughly anywhere from $250 to $285, which is not terrible considering it's last gen's best CPU, which is not bad at all. And if I were to buy that for about, I would just say $260, I would sell the Pentium G4400 I have in there, and that would be about 20 bucks, and that would bring the 260 down to about 240. I also have a Z170 board already, which with the BIOS update, which I've already done, will support 7th gen CPUs, which is good. And then I was looking at maybe the i5-8400 after a deal on eBay. I got it for yesterday, 142 bucks. A Z370 motherboard, some of the cheaper ones. I know the cheaper ones aren't nearly as good for overclocking as some of the nicer ones, but in my case, I'm not going to be overclocking this 8400, and if I do get an 8600K, I've actually never overclocked anything, so I can't imagine I overclock it to the extreme, but having the ability to overclock it in the future is nice. And when you add in those two, it's about 140, plus for the Z370 board, it's going to be roughly another 120 bucks. So that puts me at 260 bucks total. And then I have a Z170 board and a G4400, as you know, in there. And that's worth about 80 bucks. And when I sell those two together, or separately or whatever, when I sell those two, it'll roughly cost me about $200 for the i5-8400 plus a Z170 board, whereas the 7700K would have cost me at the end of the day like 230 bucks. 240 bucks. So that was something to consider. That wasn't the biggest deal because it's only like 40 bucks, and that's not gonna kill me either way. The reason I wasn't willing to spend more on the 7700K is for my next reason, and that's upgrade path. So the 7700K is the best 1151 socket 100 and 200 series chip you can buy. So if I were to buy the 7700K, a great CPU, don't get me wrong, I would pretty much just be locked into the 7th gen unless I were to upgrade to the 8th gen or Ice Lake the 9th gen, whatever that comes out. And I didn't really want to be locked in to a non-upgradable path. And I looked at like an i5-7600K, and I was like, well, maybe I can just get that, then upgrade to a 7700K later. But the i5-7600K's performance is like 33% less than the 8400, and I was like, I don't want to just sacrifice that much performance at the same cost. That was probably the biggest thing, is just upgrade path. Eventually, with this computer, when I get the Z370 board and the i5-8400, eventually I'll just sell the i5-8400 and then buy an i5-8600K, which will give me even more performance. And then when I'm done with that, I'll sell the i5-8600K and move up to the i7-8700K. Again, even more performance. So there was just two CPUs I can actually upgrade to that's just going to give me so much more performance, as opposed to when I get the 7700K, I'm just locked into the 7700K and that's it. And it's not like the 7700K isn't a good CPU, but the fact that I had to pay $40 more for it and I have no upgrade path just was like, I don't want to do that. It was just a turnoff to me. So I decided to go with a little bit worse CPU in terms of single core performance. It doesn't have 8 threads, it only has 6 threads, but in my head, this 6 true cores, it's just going to benefit me a little bit more, especially with rendering files, which is what I use this for, as occasional gaming, but mainly video editing. So I thought to myself, I was like, well, I'd rather get maybe slightly worse performance today to be able to get way better performance tomorrow, or when, obviously not tomorrow, but when I decide to upgrade to the 8600K or the 8700K. So that was my thinking there. My next thought was the actual performance differences on multi-threaded tasks like video editing and rendering is not much different between the 7700K and the 8400. Single core performance, the 7700K far supersedes the i5 8400, but again, I don't really need the single core performance for gaming because I'm not going to be gaming. And in the future, if I were to game, which is likely, I mean, I will game some games, I'm not gonna not play, but I'm not gonna play that many. And in the future, I just think I'd rather be able, again, to have worse single core performance now, but then in the future be able to upgrade to vastly superior single core performance in the future, just because the step from the 7th gen to the 8th gen is so vast. Like, it's crazy. You're talking about i3s that are almost as powerful as like 7600Ks from last year. So those are the reasons I decided to go with the 8400. I think there are definitely some people who are going to say I should have gone with the 7700K, and I understand that, but there are things that are just more important to me than performance now. I would rather sacrifice a little bit of performance now, and I'm not really sacrificing that much performance, especially on the multi-core performance. You could even say that the i5 8400 is better, or the multi-core applications, than the i7 7700K is. But again, to me, the most important thing in all of this was just long-term use. I don't want to constantly, like, it's fun to buy and resell stuff and just show it on my channel, but stuff that's my own personal rig, I just want it to be like set in stone, and then when I have to eventually upgrade it, it'll be a fast and dirty upgrade. You know what I mean? Quick and dirty, nothing special. So some people might say, well, Scott, you're pretty much doing the same thing just earlier. If you were to get the 7700, you wouldn't have to sell the board, and you could just get a CPU, and then you'd be good. You could pop it in, sell the other one, and you're good. And I understand that, but again, where am I going to go after the 7700K? I'm not going to go anywhere. Granted, it's a lot of performance, but the price to performance on that CPU versus the i5 8400 it's not even close. I mean, the i5 8400 is a very capable processor, very similar on, again, multi-threaded applications, and single core score is going to lag a little bit, but it's also half the price. So yeah, I know I have to buy a new board, but I also have a board that I can sell to negate some of that. There are a lot of reasons why I could have gone either way, and I had researched and looked and looked and looked and looked, but at the end of the day, the best thing for me is just to go with the 8th generation. It's now going to be natively supported in Hackintosh, which is really good. I was a tiny bit worried about that, but since Apple released the new 8th gen MacBook Pros, Mac OS is going to natively support the 8th gen chips. Not that they didn't already, but it's just nice to have that extra little backing to know that, well, they do actually have 8th gen chips. So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. The 7700K, again, is a great processor, but for me, it just didn't make any sense to pretty much pay more money to almost get a little bit of a downgrade. And I'd rather just wait for the new motherboard and processor to come in now. That way in the future, I can just upgrade the processor to switch those out, instead of in the future having to sell the board, sell the CPU, and then being able to upgrade. So like right now I can wait. In the future I might not be able to wait. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, consider subscribing. We are 201 subscribers. That's nuts. I cannot believe we have that many. That's awesome. Like, I'm super happy with that. I'm like super proud of it, and I want to thank you guys a lot for everything you've done. And that's pretty much it. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.